All right, today we're jumping into a huge controversy that's really stirring things up in India's political and financial circles. We're talking about serious allegations that public money, the savings of millions of people, was used to prop up a massive private company.
So let's start with the name the opposition Congress Party has given this whole affair, the Modani mega scam. Right away, you can tell this is loaded. They've merged the Prime Minister's name with the Adani Group to frame this as a massive scandal at the highest levels.
Okay, so let's get past the political branding for a second. What's the actual accusation here? What is this whole firestorm really about?
At its core, the claim is pretty straightforward and, well, pretty serious. The Congress Party is alleging a disturbing misuse of public money. They're saying that funds from the state-run Life Insurance Corporation, LIC, were basically funneled into the Adani Group, not because it was a great investment, but for other reasons entirely.
Now, to really wrap your head around a story like this, you've got to know who the main players are. So let's quickly run through the cast of characters at the center of this controversy.
First up, you have the accuser. That's the main opposition, the Congress Party. They're the ones who are really pushing this issue into the spotlight and demanding an official investigation.
Then there's the investor at the heart of it all, the Life Insurance Corporation of India, or LIC. And we have to remember, LIC isn't just some company. It's a state-run giant where millions upon millions of Indians put their life savings. So what it does with that money is a huge deal.
And who allegedly benefited from all this? The Adani Group. They're one of India's biggest conglomerates, with their hands in everything from ports to energy.
And finally, the Congress Party claims this didn't just happen on its own. They're pointing fingers at what they call facilitators inside the government, specifically officials in the finance ministry and the policy think tank NETI-AOU, who they say pushed LIC to make it all happen.
Okay, so we know the players. Now let's do what you always do in these situations. Let's follow the money. How did this massive investment supposedly go down?
The number we're talking about is just staggering. Nearly 33,000 crore rupees. To give you some perspective, that's roughly $4 billion US. That's the amount of public savings that was allegedly poured into the Adani Group.
So was the goal just to get a good return on investment? Well, according to the documents cited in reports, not exactly. The alleged purpose was to signal confidence in the Adani Group. Basically, to use a huge state-backed investment to tell other private investors, hey, everything's fine here, you should invest too. And how do we know all this? The story really exploded after a big report in the Washington Post. The paper said it had seen internal documents that laid out the whole alleged plan.
And this is where the timeline gets really critical. Check this out. After Gautam Adani and some of his associates were indicted by U.S. authorities in a bribery case, the market completely panicked. The result? LIC's investment in Adani firms reportedly lost over 7,850 crore rupees in value in just 4 hours.
Look, it's easy to get lost in the huge numbers and the politics, but this story isn't just about corporations and politicians. This is about the savings of millions and millions of regular people.
And this number really brings it all home. 30 crore. That's 300 million policyholders. That's how many people put their trust and their hard-earned money into LIC, believing it's being invested safely.
And this quote from the Congress President, Mallikarjun Kharge, gets right to the emotional heart of the issue. He's asking a very direct question. Does the average person saving every penny for their LIC premium have any idea their money is allegedly being used to bail out a private company?
Which, leads to the fundamental question that hangs over this entire controversy. It's not just about financial losses. It's about ethics. Is it a breach of trust to use public savings to rescue a private company that's facing its own serious allegations?
So, with these bombshell allegations now out in the open, what happens next? What are people demanding in terms of accountability?
The opposition isn't just shouting from the sidelines here. They're calling for very specific actions to get to the bottom of this. They're demanding 2 major parliamentary probes. First, an inquiry by the Public Accounts Committee, which is the body that's supposed to scrutinize how the government spends money. And second, they're renewing a long-standing call for a Joint Parliamentary Committee, or JPC, to look into the whole Adani affair.
So where does that leave us right now? Well, the story is far from over. As of the time these reports came out, there's been complete silence from both the Adani Group and the government. And that creates this huge contrast, right? You have these explosive claims on one side and just a wall of silence on the other. It really all comes down to a fundamental question. When public trust and public money are on the line, who is ultimately held accountable?